Radio Free Cybertron.
Transformers.
Rewind.
Okay, so this week on Transformers Rewind, we're talking about Bad Spark.
Long-range recon report. This kiddie's keen sense of discovery has uncovered a Mondo stasis pod, but it's thoroughly thrashed, and it plowed into a big load of residual energon. And it's branded with
In
a
Bad
big,
Spark,
bad
Cheetor radios back to base after finding a giant stasis pod. Optimus and Silverbolt meet up with Cheetor, and Optimus explains that the evidently deceased Protoform X was the real mission of the Axelon.
Indestructible? Afraid not.
Having intercepted Cheetor's transmission earlier, the Predacons arrive and try to claim the Protoform by force, while Tarantulas also appears to take Black Arachnia by force.
Are you damaged?
Just enough to make me interesting.
Well, I suspect Tarantulas will still come after you.
I expect you're right.
Well, I will not let him harm you.
I'm counting on that.
The fight detonates a pile of energon crystals, setting off an energon storm that scatters all the combatants, who must make their way up a mountain above the energon storm to call for help. But Protoform X may not be as offline as Optimus thought. So, this episode is probably one of the more noted of Season 2, It and Transmutate, because, wow, how did they get this in a kid's show?
Yeah.
It does sort of have a horror film feel to it.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's the horror film style of it, and then there's... I mean, we find out more about Protoform X later that, like, cements it further, but he's basically the Transformer serial killer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which, I mean, and that's... Yeah, well, I mean, and there's a lot going on in this episode. It had been a long time since I'd actually sat down and watched this episode, and I was really surprised just by, the sheer amount of stuff. I mean, we have a lot. The seeds have been planted earlier, but we start to see the full fruition of, this relationship between Black Arachnia and Silverbolt. This whole secret mission of the Axelon, which, sort of lends to this idea of like a larger secret world behind the scenes of the Maximal, the Maximal government. Just, and I mean, it's got everything that you could want. I mean, like I said, the horror film feel, seeds of a lot of things. Well, I mean, like a minor piece, it seems, would be like where Dinobot is making the download into the Axelon computers.
Which, of course, we never get any follow-up on later. But,
yeah.
Oops.
Right, but that would have been a part of that,
no official follow-up.
episode?
Dark
right,
Glass.
But Dark Glass. That would have been the Dark Glass follow-up that never came into fruition. So there's a lot of things going on in this episode, and a lot of things I did, just had forgotten happen sort of at this pivotal moment in the series.
I think it says a lot for this episode that it was actually chosen as the second part of the theatrical showing of the Beast Wars second movie.
Of course, as a result of that, A, it wasn't dubbed for the theatrical showing, and B, it never got dubbed as part of the Beast Wars Medals run on TV either.
Yeah.
So, oops.
Yeah. But, at least they don't talk about, bananas. Or they don't really make weird
Man,
inferences.
Can you even imagine what this episode
God.
would be like with the Japanese Beast Wars dub?
I don't think they could have done it. I mean, I really don't. I mean, it would have been really hard.
That's probably why it ended up as a theatrical showing instead. It was too dark and just heavy for the audience they were aiming at, and this was the best way to get the footage out there.
And you really wouldn't... I mean, this is a great episode for just like for David Kaye and Beast Wars in Megatron, and you really wouldn't want to lose that in a dub.
Of course I wouldn't want to lose that.
No.
I mean, one of the most famous lines in the whole run of the shows was, spiders spin their webs, but I spin them larger. I mean, that's just one of the most memorable quotes from Megatron in the whole series, and it really just says.
Yeah, I guess so. I think for me, it'd really be more treachery keeps the wit sharp from earlier in the season.
Oh, I mean, it's one of. I mean, it really shows. It really tells about his character and what who Megatron is. And watching this, I haven't watched an episode of Beast Wars in a year or two, which makes me kind of sad. I really miss Beast Wars.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
We talk about how the animation hasn't really aged that badly, and it's aged. It clearly has, but it has this charm to it that it's more timeless than say other things like G1.
Well, okay. I mean, Mainframe was honestly ahead of their time in CGI for as long as they were in operation. Reboot started in 1992 as the first full-length CGI cartoon on TV, and I mean that in itself was ahead of its time.
Yes.
And by the time they got to Beast Wars, they were really ahead of the curve.
Mm-hmm.
Their highest shining point, though, I think, was Beast Machines, which has aged so much better than Beast Wars has.
Yeah, it's true. Beast Machines actually is actually a lot better in retrospect than Beast Wars is. Beast Wars was highly acclaimed for the most part during its original airing, and Beast Wars, it took a lot of people time to really appreciate it for what it was.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think with Beast Machines, nobody really learned to appreciate it for itself until we were getting Armada and Energon.
Yeah. So yeah, that's true. So
imagine
in this episode though, Rampage. One thing that maybe a bit of a disservice to Rampage, he's less of a character, more of a force.
Yeah.
Which it's his first appearance, and Rampage is one of my absolute favorite characters from Beast Wars. So if you really want to get acquainted with Rampage, this may not be the best episode.
No, probably Transmutate is probably one of the better Rampage episodes, but I think it's a good introduction. I mean, it's not like he has no lines and no personality in the episode. Certainly he does have a few very sinister lines.
Yeah.
In this, in fact,
when he's torturing Silverbolt is really where you learn, okay, this is what Rampage is about.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, and like I said, this episode has a lot of stuff too. I mean, you've even got G1 references in terms of referencing the Starscream's mutant spark. Yeah. There's not much to hate about this episode. It's really
no, not at all.
For as many things as they've thrown into it, there's a lot of really good stuff. And even if you take all of those elements away, still like the sort of horror film, almost Predator film. I mean, really, it's sort of an homage to Predator in that way.
Yeah, I would say in general, this is a pretty representative Season 2 episode of Beast Wars. Season 2 is overall really good.
It is overall really good. I would say Bad Spark's kind of on the higher end of
it is. It is, but it's still. I mean, but there are not that many clunkers in Season 2, and I really can't think of one off the top of my head. Maybe coming into Fusors.
Season 2 is really solid and tight, and I mean, it really. I think when people think of Beast Wars, they think of Season 2 before any of the rest of it.
Yeah. It's its high watermark for the series.
And it has farting. That's the other thing that's really important to remember about this episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Season 1 had more epic farting than...
It is true. I'm just saying, like, if you're talking about everything that's in this, not only does it have all of that other stuff, but there is robot farting. So.
Although it's funny you mentioned that, because until just now I hadn't realized that Cheetor's emissions this episode are precedented in the series continuity. Since Rhinoc discharged excess energon in exactly the same way.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
Man,
this is good stuff.
Of all the things to layer that deeply in the writing of the show, it's the robot fart.